Why do most older folk seem to fade away after 80? Even the sharpest minds, who were cruising along brilliantly just a handful of years ago, often hit that foggy wall and start drifting into decline. The harsh reality? Way too many pin it all on genetics or some cosmic roll of the dice. But that's barely skimming the truth's surface. In this video, we're plunging deeper into 5 unexpected villains, the kind that lurk in the shadows, seldom whispered about, that unravel why so many elders battle to stretch their years or hold on to that vibrant health beyond 80. These aren't your run-of-the-mill culprits like lousy eating habits, puffing on smokes, or dodging workouts. Nah, these are the crafty, understated forces that evade detection, slipping right past even those who've played most of their cards right in life. And the real kicker, the beacon of optimism here, once you shine a light on them, you can actually step up and counterattack. So, if you've ever scratched your head wondering what genuinely sabotages longevity after hitting 80, and how to fortify your defenses while you've still got plenty of runway, stick around till the credits roll. These 5 hidden saboteurs could very well rewrite your aging story, flipping the narrative before the curtain starts to fall. Alright, let's dive headfirst. Number 1. The vanishing spark of microsocial connections. One of the sneakiest, most under-the-radar thieves stealing precious years from folks past 80 is the gradual, almost ghostly evaporation of what the experts term microsocial engagement. We're not diving into those profound, soul-bearing bonds with lifelong friends or the warm chaos of family reunions. Those absolutely still hold weight, no doubt, but instead, those tiny, effortless sparks that once peppered your daily grind without you batting an eye. Imagine those casual, hey there, waves to the mail carrier on their route, a light-hearted banter or punchy one-liner swapped with the cashier while bagging your groceries, or that simple, knowing nod to the neighbor out strolling their furry companion. Those blink-and-miss-it moments weren't mere niceties, they were like subtle conductors, fine-tuning your nervous system, stitching in that essential fabric of community and belonging, and keeping your brain's intricate social circuitry humming, alert, and razor-sharp. But once you cross that 80 threshold, life has a way of pulling the rug out. Many stop venturing to the local shop for themselves, opting instead for the convenience of online deliveries or leaning on relatives to handle the haul. Those impromptu chats with passers-by fizzle as hearing fades a notch, making conversations feel like more effort than they're worth, or outdoor walks grind to a halt over a nip in the air or knees that protest with every step. And as those minuscule social pulses start to flicker out, your inner vitality dims right alongside, like a bonfire starved of kindling, slowly surrendering to the night. The mind-blowing twist. Hardly anyone notices the shift in real time, they brush it off as just simplifying things, or easing into retirement mode. But in truth, they're unwittingly dismantling those low-key social jolts that invigorate brain activity, chase away the blues, and constantly remind your entire being that you're not just existing, you're actively threaded into the vibrant, ever-shifting tapestry of everyday human life. No need for grand gestures or overhauls, keep it grounded and real. I've witnessed guys in their 80s who remained as mentally agile as ever, all thanks to their unshakable ritual of ambling to the neighborhood coffee joint at sunrise, exchanging familiar smiles and hellos with the barista crew, and tipping a casual hat to the same cluster of locals lingering at the crosswalk. That brief, 5-minute interlude of genuine human exchange. It wasn't rote habit, it was pure, life-sustaining elixir. It sculpted structure into their mornings, instilled a subtle sense of accountability to show up, and left them feeling truly acknowledged and visible in a world that can sometimes overlook the elders. But strip it away, and the biological backlash hits like a stealth wave. Your brain interprets isolation, whether the profound, gut-wrenching kind or this sneaky, surface-level drift, as a full-blown stressor, cranking up hormone imbalances, fueling chronic inflammation, and chipping away at your immune fortress. Even more critically, it begins to erode those crucial neural pathways that govern memory retention, laser-focused attention, and steady emotional balance. In straightforward terms, it accelerates that feeling old sensation, turning what could be golden years into a premature twilight. So, if you've caught yourself in quieter days, fewer off-the-cuff talks with folks around town, ditching those quick solo errands, or letting easy greetings slide into silence, it's prime time to reignite. those seemingly forgettable flashes of connection. They're broadcasting a powerful signal to your brain and body: you matter profoundly. You're intertwined in something bigger. And that resonant message? It's one of the most potent, underappreciated remedies out there, fueling not merely added calendar flips, but a spirit that stays electric, engaged, and eternally youthful. Number 2, the trap of too safe stillness. Another shadowy saboteur that quietly derails so many from sailing smoothly beyond 80 is what masquerades as prudent wisdom, erring on the side of extreme caution, but it's a precarious tightrope between sensible safeguards and a fear-fueled paralysis that creeps in uninvited. The fallout doesn't crash down overnight, it accumulates like dust in forgotten corners, building to a tipping point. It often kicks off with the best of intentions, perhaps a minor slip on the stairs or a near-miss wobble on an uneven sidewalk, prompting you to scale back those outdoor ambles. You skip reaching for items on low shelves to avoid straining, or you bow out of squeezing into the car's backseat for fear of a twist. Sitting becomes the default, and those seated stretches grow longer, more entrenched. Your circle cheers the conservatism: better safe than sorry, they echo. Take it slow, no need to push. And before you can blink, you've engineered an existence that's fortified against mishaps but utterly stagnant, like a ship docked indefinitely in harbor. But here's the raw, rarely aired truth that flips the script: when you halt the flow of movement, strength doesn't just pause, it plummets. And this isn't limited to obvious spots like your limbs, it seeps into the finesse of coordination, the steadiness of balance, and that deep-seated inner resilience that keeps you upright and agile. Your body isn't some mechanical contraption that thrives on idle time for efficiency, it's akin to a lush garden that demands regular nurturing, weeding, and watering to flourish. Dial the activity down to a mere drip, and systems don't hold steady, they degrade, weaken, and wither on the vine. One of the earliest casualties. Your core muscles, those unsung heroes buried deep in the trunk, powering everything from rising tall to striding confidently, hoisting loads, or even easing out of a lounge chair without a grunt. Let them lie dormant for even a couple of weeks, and they begin to atrophy at an alarming rate, shrinking and softening. Balance teeters on the edge, introducing those telltale wobbles, and the vicious cycle spirals deeper, feeding on itself. I knew a fellow named Walter, sharp as a tack at 82, who abandoned his cherished evening mile-long walks after one innocuous slip on a slick, rainy pavement. No fractures, no hospital drama, just a heart-pounding scare that lingered. That single jolt was enough to rewrite his routine, swapping active twilight strolls for sedentary evenings glued to the TV glow. In under 6 months, he shed a solid 10 pounds of hard-earned muscle mass, his once sturdy legs turned to unreliable jelly, quivering with every tentative step. His doctor sounded the alarm bells, but the erosion had already taken root, insidious and irreversible in its early grip. Walter didn't start weak and then quit, he quit first, and weakness rushed in like an uninvited flood. Look, I'm not advocating for throwing caution to the wind or ignoring legitimate hazards. There are savvy, practical ways to armor up without retreating. Grip those handrails firmly, lace up shoes with serious traction, clear clutter from paths to prevent trips, or embrace a walking cane if it adds that extra layer of confidence and stability. But draw the line clearly: managing risks intelligently is worlds apart from capitulating to them entirely. When fear becomes the puppet master dictating every motion, or lack thereof, your body starts to unlearn the art of movement altogether, muscles forgetting their purpose, joints stiffening in protest. So, if you've noticed your activity dipping not because your body truly can't handle it, but because, what if, scenarios loom large in your mind, tune into that red flag with urgency. Pause and interrogate: am I genuinely protecting my well-being, or am I inadvertently fading into the background, one avoided step at a time? Because true thriving after 80 isn't merely about evading falls or fractures, it's about persisting in motion, adapting with grace, slower if needed, more deliberate, infused with intention. Movement is the body's silent affirmation: you're vital, you're required here. It keeps physiological systems firing, your mind vigilant and quick, and your heart pulsing not just rhythmically, but with renewed purpose and passion. And if these revelations are resonating deep, firing up your curiosity, Drop a quick number 2 in the comments below. Let me know you're locked in and absorbing it all. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button now and toggle the notification bell so future gems like this land straight in your feed without a hitch. Your engagement is the rocket fuel that keeps us churning out insightful, empowering content designed to educate, motivate, and truly transform. Let's keep the momentum rolling. Number 3, sleep sabotage from life's wild whims. Tucked away in the core of your being operates a silent, invisible timekeeper, not the audible tick-tock of a clock, but a masterful regulator orchestrating a symphony of functions, your emotional highs and lows, the intricate dance of metabolism, the fortress of your immune defenses, even the nightly workshop where your brain mends and rejuvenates itself. As you venture past 80, this internal circadian rhythm grows increasingly delicate, like a finely tuned instrument vulnerable to the slightest discord. One of the prime disruptors throwing it off kilter. A stark imbalance in light exposure, too little natural brilliance flooding your days, coupled with an overload of artificial glare invading your nights. The shift might sneak up on you, subtle at first, perhaps you're catching more daytime doses, drifting off in the soft glow of an afternoon sunbeam streaming through the window. Or you've dialed back on regular outdoor excursions, especially during those biting winter months when the chill bites harder. Evenings morph into sessions of TV marathons under bright screens or late-night reading bathed in lamplight that lingers far past dusk. Each tweak feels innocuous in isolation, a minor adjustment to comfort, but collectively, they sow confusion in your body's innate timing mechanisms, muddling the clear signals for when to surge with energy and when to surrender to restorative rest. At its essence, your physiology craves the authenticity of natural light to maintain harmony. That crisp, invigorating morning sunlight acts as a wake-up call to your brain, shouting, "Time to activate," directing vitality to where it's most needed for the day's demands. Conversely, the enveloping darkness of true night triggers the gentle cascade of melatonin, the hormone that ushers in profound, healing slumber like a soothing lullaby. But deprive your senses of that essential daytime solar dose, or bombard your evenings with the harsh, synthetic brightness from gadgets and bulbs, and those vital cues get hopelessly jumbled, like static interfering with a radio broadcast. The repercussions ripple out, sleep becomes a battleground, you struggle to nod off despite exhaustion, or jolt awake repeatedly through the night, mornings greet you with a lingering grogginess even after logging a full 8 hours, energy ebbs unpredictably throughout the day, and your once crisp memory starts to blur around the edges, details slipping through mental fingers. Over the long haul, this chronic sleep disarray does more than sap your pep, it undermines immune resilience, destabilizes moods making irritability or melancholy more frequent visitors, and heightens vulnerability to cognitive slippage, where thoughts grow foggy and connections slower. Layer on the vitamin D factor, that crucial nutrient your skin synthesizes naturally under sunlight's touch. Post-80, your body's efficiency in this process wanes, making consistent outdoor exposure not just beneficial, but downright essential for bolstering bones, muscle integrity, and overall immune prowess. Without it, everything from skeletal strength to daily vigor takes a noticeable hit. I once connected with a remarkable woman named Helen, 84 years young, who was grappling with escalating fatigue and a disorienting mental haze that left her unsettled. Her lab results came back spotless, diet unchanged, no new meds muddying the waters. The breakthrough came from an astute doctor's simple prescription: dedicate 20 minutes each morning to basking by an open window, blinds thrown wide to invite the dawn's rays, and commit to powering down all screens a full hour before bedtime to let natural dimness take over. In just 2 short weeks, her sleep patterns transformed, deeper, more unbroken, her cognitive edge sharpened noticeably, and her overall disposition lifted, infused with a fresh buoyancy. It wasn't some cutting-edge pharmaceutical, it was the primal power of light, harnessed intentionally. So, if your routine has you hunkered indoors with curtains drawn tight against the world, or your nights awash in the blue-tinged glow of devices long after sunset, seize the moment to realign. Make it a non-negotiable. Step outside within that golden hour after waking, even if it's just a brief porch sit to let your eyes and skin absorb the sun's awakening embrace. As evening descends, ease into softer lighting, signaling your system to unwind gracefully. These rhythmic adjustments transcend mere convenience, they're foundational to survival, a lifeline in the truest sense. What escapes most people's notice is that aging isn't solely about the inevitable wear from time's passage, it's equally about internal disarray, systems falling out of sync like an orchestra without a conductor. By reclaiming your light rhythms, restoring sleep's sanctity, and honoring your daily cycles, you restore that vital order. It's your body's defiant declaration, even at 85, we're aligned, we're propelled, we're unequivocally here. Number 4. The heavy hush of bottled-up heartaches from loss and isolation. By the time life's odyssey lands you in your 80s, the weight of accumulated losses often towers beyond what younger generations can fully comprehend: the departure of a cherished spouse, a sibling who shared your earliest memories, a steadfast friend through thick and thin, or heartbreakingly, even a child taken too soon. While society might extend polite condolences in the moment, what's chronically overlooked is how these wounds compound, not merely as fading recollections, but as tangible burdens etched into your physical form. What unfolds after 80 frequently transcends raw grief. It's the insidious pattern of emotional suppression, that quiet, habitual swallowing of sorrow rather than letting it spill forth. It's donning that stoic mask because societal whispers suggest you should be accustomed to it by now, or because the few remaining confidants can't grasp the profound abyss those absences have carved in your world. But confront the unflinching truth: your body doesn't erase what's unexpressed, it archives it, deep in tissues and cells. When grief remains unspoken, unshared, unfelt in its entirety, it doesn't evaporate into ether, it festers, transforming into a physical load that seeps into every system. Over months and years, this internalized heaviness disrupts immune function, tangles digestion, fragments sleep into restless shards. Hormones shift erratically, placing your nervous system in a perpetual undercurrent of tension, like a string wound too tight, ready to snap. The most insidious aspect? It operates in stealth mode. On the surface, you project composure, uttering, "I'm managing just fine," with conviction. Yet, if your shoulders carry an unspoken heaviness, your breaths come shallower and more guarded, or your inner light has dimmed to the point where you scarcely recognize your reflection's spark, that long-buried grief could be the silent architect, even if years have passed since the last tear fell. I recall a man named George, 86 and weathered by time, who endured the loss of his wife after 6 decades of shared life. Tears were sparse. "Not my style," he'd deflect, insisting he was holding steady amid the storm. But within a year, the toll manifested: unexplained weight loss, withdrawal from his beloved senior center gatherings, and nights fractured by insomnia. Not from any diagnosable ailment, but from a physique burdened by sorrow that had never been granted release, like a dam holding back a reservoir of unspoken pain. See, emotional anguish doesn't require theatrical displays to inflict damage. Its subtlety is its strength, and by the time it surfaces in health declines, the causal thread often hides in plain sight, obscured. What propels individuals to not just survive but thrive well into their later decades isn't sheer physical fortitude alone, it's the practice of emotional ventilation, creating outlets where feelings can flow freely without judgment. It's summoning the courage to voice the raw truths: "I miss her presence every waking moment," or "the anger still simmers beneath," or "this isolation cuts deeper than I let on." That vulnerability, that release, is what allows the heart to draw in fresh air, to expand once more. And when the heart breathes unencumbered, the body follows suit, initiating waves of healing that ripple outward. This is why those who age with exceptional grace often cultivate some form of conduit: a loyal companion who listens without interruption, the cathartic pages of a private journal, the solace found in faith's embrace, a supportive community circle, or even professional therapy to unpack decades of layered narratives. The medium varies, but the core principle endures: what you articulate can alchemize into growth, what you entomb only ferments, poisoning from within. So, if you've been warehousing these inner storms, not out of desire, but from a lack of safe harbors to unleash them, carve out that space deliberately now. Not solely for emotional equilibrium, but for the preservation and extension of your very life force. Because hearts, resilient as they are, have finite capacity before the unvoiced weight prompts a subtle shutdown. To propel past 80 not as a mere spectator but as a vibrant participant, alive in every sense, you must grant it permission to feel, to grieve, to heal unapologetically. If these layers are peeling back insights that hit home, stirring something within, comment, number 4, below, I'm here, reading, connecting. And if subscription's still on your to-do list, make the move now, bell activated, to ensure you catch every upcoming episode hot off the press. Your involvement is the heartbeat behind our mission to deliver content that informs, inspires, and ignites positive change. On we press. Number 5, the creeping void of everyday why. Among the most elusive, phantom-like reasons why so many falter in flourishing beyond 80 is the insidious erosion of something we often overlook until its absence echoes loudly, that fundamental daily purpose. Not the lofty, existential quest for life's grand meaning, but the grounded, everyday variety, the subtle pull that coaxes you from beneath the covers each morning with a tangible to-do, a destination calling, or a connection awaiting. Purpose in this vein demands no fanfare or fireworks, it thrives in simplicity, like tending to your garden's thirsty plants before the midday sun turns scorching, doling out kibble to the stray cat that's claimed your doorstep as its daily haunt, crafting a heartfelt letter to a distant granddaughter filled with stories and wisdom, or tinkering with that stubborn hinge on the backyard gate. Until it swings smoothly once more. But as these modest anchors begin to loosen and drift away, mornings arrive barren of motivation, evenings close without a single accomplishment to savor or reflect upon, and gradually, an inner mechanism starts to wind down, dimming like a lantern low on oil. Your physical self attunes closely to the mind's directives, and when the psyche perceives no compelling reason to forge ahead, the body mirrors that apathy, appetite wanes, mobility lags, and without that animating spark, the intricate systems safeguarding your health begin to hush, not from irreparable damage, but from a lack of summons to reactivate. This fade is masterfully gradual, easy to dismiss as inevitable. Perhaps your long-standing weekly bridge club dissolves amid scheduling conflicts, the faith group's gatherings peter out, family drop-ins grow sporadic, or that cherished volunteer commitment fades as joint aches make participation taxing. You rationalize it as part of getting older, a natural progression. Yet deep in your core, the sensation registers, the days merging into an indistinct blur, each successive one more muted, less defined than the last. I once encountered a woman named Ruth, vibrant at 88 in ways that outshone folks decades her junior. She lacked material wealth, perfect health was a distant memory, and her family network was threadbare at best. But she clung fiercely to one unyielding element that infused her existence. Every Monday, without fail, she penned uplifting postcards to the shut-ins within her church community, bridging isolation with words of encouragement. Thursdays brought the ritual of simmering homemade soup, portioned and frozen for delivery to a nearby shelter, nourishing bodies and spirits alike. And daily, come 4 p.m. sharp, she'd position herself at the window to witness the neighborhood children trekking home from school. She memorized their names, waved enthusiastically, and basked in their reciprocal grins and gestures. It wasn't opulent or extraordinary, but it wove rich texture into her routine, established a rhythmic heartbeat to her hours, and provided an unbroken thread of continuity that kept her anchored. That's the profound secret unlocked. Your body persists in vitality as long as it senses its necessity, its relevance in the grand scheme. Even the humblest purpose acts as premium fuel, signaling cells to repair diligently, organs to function optimally, and the brain to remain curious and adaptive. When that perception of maturing erodes, when you internalize that your presence no longer impacts anyone or anything meaningfully, the inner flame flickers perilously low. This explains why those who navigate past 80 with poise and energy invariably harbor some daily cornerstone, a patch of earth to cultivate, a loyal pet demanding care, introspective journaling to capture thoughts, a cherished ritual that marks time's passage, routine phone chats that bridge distances, or a morning invocation that sets intention. The grandeur is irrelevant, it's the unwavering consistency that counts, the knowledge that upon awakening, a purpose awaits to propel you upright and into motion. So, if a sense of drift has settled in, your days losing their contours or essence, don't dismiss it as fleeting melancholy, it's a clarion call from within. Your being yearns for restoration, rhythm to structure the hours, bonds to nurture the soul, belonging to a firm existence, and a burning why to fuel the journey. Because longevity, at its heart, transcends the mechanical beat of a pulse, it's the heart's fervent desire to continue beating, to engage, to contribute. That understated yearning to persist, to remain woven into life's fabric, to still hold significance. It's the invisible force that catapults souls beyond 80 into chapters brimming with fullness and fire. Wrapping words. As we draw this video to its close, let me imprint one straightforward yet electrifying truth upon you. The fade that claims so many after 80 rarely stems from a singular, dramatic pivot. It's not a grim diagnosis, a sudden tumble, or the arbitrary tick of a milestone birthday that abruptly alters the course. Rather, it's the whisper-quiet attrition of ingrained habits, natural rhythms, and those quiet motivators that once kept you deeply intertwined with life's pulse. These erosions are so nuanced, so incrementally paced, that they evade detection until your inner essence feels subtly subdued, less luminous than in days past. But here's the empowering flip side, the ray of possibility. Just as these diminishments unfold at a glacial pace, so too can their reversal, deliberate, step by measured step. It begins with one intentional venture into sunlight, one spontaneous exchange with a store clerk that reignites connection, one mindful morning stretch that awakens dormant muscles, not born of obligation, but sparked by the pursuit of structure, kinship, or personal significance. That's the genesis of reclamation. Reflect on the 5 stealthy adversaries we've unmasked. Which one landed like a bolt from the blue, catching you off guard? Which resonated with an uneasy familiarity, mirroring your own quiet shifts? And crucially, which are you ready to confront head-on, even through the smallest actionable tweak, commencing today? For you wield far greater influence than conventional wisdom concedes, not to halt the march of time, but to orchestrate its melody. By remaining vigilant to these subtle undercurrents, by safeguarding your intrinsic rhythms, nurturing your purpose with care, and embracing the full spectrum of emotions that demand expression, you position yourself not just to attain 80, but to transcend it, living profoundly, authentically, on terms dictated solely by you. Thank you profoundly for investing your time with us today. Your presence means the world. We'd be thrilled to hear your voice. Drop a comment below sharing one key takeaway that struck a chord and how you envision weaving it into your daily tapestry. Your perspectives fuel our community, so pour them out freely. Engaging with your thoughts infuses us with boundless motivation and uplift. If this content sparked value or sparked a shift, show it with a like, lock in your subscription, and spread the word far and wide. Your advocacy is the lifeblood enabling us to sustain this stream of enriching, inspirational material tailored to enlighten and empower. Thanks again for tuning in. We're eager to reconnect in the next installment, where more discoveries await.